Tonight will be the start of the second half of the Major League Baseball season. The Houston Astros will be playing the Texas Rangers. It'll be on ESPN if you want to watch at 8 o'clock tonight. And considering how the rest of the slate will resume tomorrow, there's a lot we got to get into. We're going to recap the Home Run Derby, the AllStar Game, talk about league leaders, the standings, and of course, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which will take place next weekend in Cooperstown. So a week early this year, but I guess, change it up a little bit. I don't know, but that being all said, let's get started. First up, we'll talk about the Home Run Derby. So, the participants in this Home Run Derby, and I'll zoom in, so if you're on a phone, you can get a better idea of what it was like. So, we had Matt Chapman from the Oakland Athletics. We had Pete Alonso from the New York Mets. Josh Bell from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Alex Bregman from the Houston Astros. Jock Peterson from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Ronald Acuna Jr. from the Atlanta Braves. And Carlos Santana from the Cleveland Indians. So in the first round, which was the quarterfinals, they had a bracket. So they do a bracket every year, I guess. So pretty much here's how it worked out. Guerrero Jr. hit 29 home runs. Peterson hit 21. Acuna hit 25. And Alonso hit 14. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 40 home runs. Jock Peterson 39. Pete Alonso hit 20 home runs. And Ronald Acuna Jr. hit 19. And we'll get to the ending in just a second because I got to recap this with the Wikipedia article. So let's just take a look. So the semis went into 3 swing-ups after Vladimir Guerrero and Jock Peterson were tied 29-29 after regulation. So it was a pretty good home run derby in that sense. So let's take a look at this. Interesting. So there were supposed to be 8. Ronald Acuna Jr. replaced Christian Yelich. Right, because Yelich had an injury. Okay, so Chapman was selected to replace Yelich. Now, this was interesting. This was very interesting. Because in the finals, Pete Alonso from the New York Mets, who wanted to always play in this home run derby, he got his dream and he won the whole thing. And I expect good things from Vlad Guerrero Jr. in the future, considering that his dad is an MLB Hall of Famer. Pete Alonso. What else can you say about this kid? I'll get into him later on in this video because you gotta talk about the Mets in general. So let's take a look at the All-Star Game. So 2.5 hours was not bad. They got the game in 2.5 hours. 2 hours, 48 minutes. So the final was 4-3 American League. Another year where the American League won it again. What else is new? National League hasn't won it since 2012. And I literally had thought this going in, that the National League had the better roster. I was assuming that this was going to actually be the year the National League would beat the American League. Well, I was wrong. So let's take a look at this. So, second inning for the American League. Michael Brantley hit an RBI double to center field and Bregman scored. In the 5th inning, Jorge Polanco hit an infield single to second. Gary Sanchez was on base and he scored. 6th inning, the National League got a run. Made it 2-1 with Charlie Blackmon homering to center field. In the 7th inning, and this is where it pretty much got the American League on its heel and sealed it up. Xander Bogaerts, RBI double play. So it's an RBI ground out, if you want to look at it to that. And then Joey Gallo, wherever his name is, because I'm not familiar with the Twins that much, and we'll get to them in just a second, because I'm more fascinated with their pitching. And then the Mets Pete Alonso made it interesting. Alonso was able to get 2 runs to make it 4-3, and then the American League was able to win 4-3. Game was in Cleveland, Ohio, so was the Home Run Derby. So now we're going to recap how the first half looked for some of the players. First up, let's get to league leaders. For my Yankees, we're talking about my Yankees. DJ LeMahieu, leading the American League with a .336 average. Second place is close. You have Michael Brantley and Rafael Devers, .324. In the National League, you have Jeff McNeil hitting .349. Bellinger is in second place. I thought Bellinger would lead the league. I literally, going in, thought that this was going to be the year for Bellinger, but McNeil has just been getting on base a lot, and McNeil is just a surprise for the Mets, just like how Alonso was. Blackman and Yelich are neck and neck for average, and fifth place doesn't matter. So right now, you look at home runs, and Trout is leading the American League with 28. Encarnacion and Sanchez are 25-24 even. Bregman and Jorge Soler, 23 home runs. So this is interesting in that sense. Christian Yelich, 31 home runs. Bellinger and Alonso are tied for second and third place. Josh Bell and Hunter, can't pronounce his name, 27 home runs. Now on the RBI total. RBI is a very close thing in the American League. Trout has 67 RBIs. Runs batted in. Jose Abreu 66, Sander Bogart 65, DJ LeMahieu 63, Domingo Santana 63. So, way I look at it, Trout's going to hit 40 home runs. Yelich could maybe hit 45 to 50 if he gets lucky. Who knows? Alonso, we'll see how it ends up. Runs batted in. Bell is 84, so Bell will probably keep up those runs getting knocked in. Now, for wins, right now we have something interesting here. And I think the way this is going to look at the National League and the American League have interesting dynamics. Gaiazzo, I think he's the pitcher to keep an eye on in the American League. Tonight, you should keep an eye on Lance Lynn, because he is starting for Texas tonight. Now, we'll see how it ends up, because the Rangers are missing a piece to potentially send them to the playoffs. We'll see how that ends up. Woodruff, 10 wins. Greinke, 10. So Greinke's waking up this year, it seems. Ryu is 10, so that doesn't surprise me. Surprisingly, Strasburg and Scherzer are 4th and 5th right now. And if I'm the Nationals and I'm trying to get hot at the right time, and they got hot like when I was in Maryland, I was able to watch a lot of the Nationals on Masson down there, because Masson's in the cable box with Comcast. The Nets finally got turned around. So I'll get to the Nats later on in this video as a whole. Morton leading the American League in ERA. Ryu leading the whole league in ERA, 1.73. So if Ryu keeps pitching the way he is, just like Jacob deGrom last year, Jacob deGrom's probably going to... Let me think about this for a second. Right. deGrom is probably going to... deGrom's numbers are just not good this year. That's all I'm going to say. Look for the Mets. So here's deGrom. And look, 4-7. ERA is 3.27. You tell me about deGrom, because he's not the same deGrom from last year. Nope. Now, something interesting here. Aroldis Chapman, 24 saves. Kirby Yates, 30 saves in the National League. So, I don't know about him, but National League is determined. American League, I don't know. Shane Green has 22 saves, and he's on a bad team. Tigers. That is something right there that I would have to look into. Alright. Now let's get to the standings. American League. I don't know about the Rays. The Red Sox are getting hot at the right time. The Red Sox are getting hot. Alright? They could still fight for a wild card. But are they going to win the division? Probably not, just because the Yankees are stacked. So the Yankees are still going to win the division. The Yankees have everything in place. They're going to probably win 98 games. It's only first half in the middle of July, and a lot of more baseball to be played. So the Yankees could win 100. The way things are looking for them right now. That's my phone, by the way. Central, don't count the Indians out. They have won the last 6 games before, and believe it or not, they're opening the second half against the Twins. So that is something I want to keep my eye on this weekend, because the Twins, they got to be careful because Cleveland has home field. The Indian fans are going to show up. They're going to be there to support their team. The West, I don't know about Oakland. They could probably fight for a wild card. Texas, I could definitely see them sticking around the wild card for a while. Anaheim, again, that's something I don't really want to talk about. And of course, the worst team in the American League for the second year in a row goes down to the Baltimore Orioles, who have only won 27 games. That's too bad. And your wild cards right now are Tampa and Cleveland. So Tampa would have the home field against Cleveland if the season had ended back on July 7th. So that would have been the standings. It would have been Tampa and Cleveland playing in the American League wild card game, with Tampa having home field. Now, let's get to the National League, where things are a little bit interesting, to say the least. The Phillies, they're mediocre. I don't know what to say about them. They're not like the Nationals, because the Nationals do have a few assets left that they can still keep them in the hunt for a wild card. So, if I'm correct, if I look at the standings, right, the wild card game would have been Nats hosting the Phillies. Can the Phillies still stick around? That has to be determined. But the Braves, we'll see. I mean, anything can go on the East, the way things are looking. Very quickly, you don't need to even bring up the Dodgers. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. They're going to win 100 games. So right now, it looks like the worst team in the National League is the Miami Marlins. 33-55. Okay. So we'll get to the Mets in just a second, because I'm gonna talk about them. Believe me, they're gonna have their own segment. Okay. The Yankees, I don't need to get into. We'll talk about trades when the deadline comes up on the 31st. So I'll have a special video for that when the time comes. Probably I'll have to record the day before, because again, I have my Summit filming on the 31st. So that won't work out. Maybe there'll be a special. I don't know, but we'll see. So, the Central. We gotta talk about the National League Central, because what is going on in this division? This is what I am so baffled about. Everybody is in it. Everybody is in the National League Central. Surprisingly. I'm completely shocked. Well, going into the first half of the season ending, Cubs are only a half a game up on the Brewers. The Cardinals are still around. So this is interesting. So, the Cubs are going to be hosting Pittsburgh. That is interesting. Very interesting, to say the least. The wild card is still competitive, I would say. But right now, if I were to go with safe bets in the wild card race, you'd have to say the Cubs the Brewers would be around. The Nationals could definitely be around. But, again, I don't know what to say about the National League. The National League's going to have a lot of parity this year, I think. The way things have looked up. Because I literally had thought everything was set into place for the Brewers from last season. But the Brewers are going to have to fight. They're going to have to fight the way things are looking right now. So, let's get into the Mets. Oh, boy. You know, it is really a joke what this team is. Trying to pull up the roster. Yep, I'm going to show you something. This guy is a joke. Let's pull him up, shall we? Mickey Callaway. Yep. I swear, this man is supposed to be a pitching guru, and he can't even figure out how to work a pitching rotation. That's how bad this guy is. He can't figure out what to do with his pitching. And I'm going to call somebody else out on this team. Try to find him. Where's the general manager? See, this is so stupid. They don't even show the general manager? What? How did they not have the general manager on here? Oh, front office. Okay. If I can find it. Partner and board of directors, officers, baseball. So I don't see it right here. He's not even listed. If I can find Brody Van Wagenen, I'll find him. Let's just pull up his Wikipedia. Yep. This is Brody Van Wagenen. Yep. That's right. He was a sports agent. How do you hire a sports agent to be the general manager of your team? That's what makes it so stupid. Okay, now we're going to get into this joker right here. Edwin Diaz. Who, he just stinks. 19 saves? 19? I mean, Twitter wasn't down right now. I'm recording when Twitter is down on Thursday. I could show you a tweet I got from Anthony DiComo last week. This was back on, I think it was Friday, when the Mets were playing the Phillies last Friday. I was in Maryland watching late at night, and on the way home, I was keeping an eye on it, and Diaz was brought in. Mickey brought him in. And look at this guy. You know what's so crazy? 1994, that was when Matt Camper was born. How was that? I'm just at a loss of words. I'm at a loss of words right now. I mean, I honestly would want to see Matt try to close a ball game to this guy at this point. Maybe Matt could get a major league save. I don't know. It would be hilarious. It would be. I'd like to see it. I wouldn't laugh at it. Just for a change. Longtime Met fan closes out baseball game when Edwin can't close it out himself. And what's so stupid about the Mets right now is here's their old closer, Jeurys Familia. Look at this. Not even a save this year. And look at his ERA. His ERA is 7.50. Here's Diaz's ERA. Diaz's ERA is what? 5.50? His earned run average is 5.50? That is such a joke. Now, miracles have happened in baseball. Okay? Let's go back to 1969. Okay? Here are the standings. I can find it. Do apologize. We'll have to go back to this date, which is July 11th, 1969. If it'll even load it. Looks like it can't even load it. Unbelievable. Here we go. So on this day in 1969, the Mets were only 4 games back of the National League East. The Mets were under 500, and they came back. Ironically enough. Crazy, isn't it? On this date, 50 years later, in 2019, the Mets are 13 and a half games back and 7 back of the wild card. So I don't know. There's no answers for the Mets if they can't get their bullpen in check. They got a good, decent hitting lineup. The offense is not the problem right now. It's the pitching that's the problem. Starting, I don't know. But the bullpen, Edwin Diaz and Jerry's Familia and whoever Mickey Callaway tries to throw out there, they can't close games. So the way the Mets are in a free fall right now, if anything, they're going to be even lucky to win 70 games. They're a 60-plus win ball team at this rate. The way things are looking for the Mets right now. Now let's get into the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame induction ceremony will be next week. So right now we have our inductees. We have Lee Smith, Harold Baines, Mariano Rivera, Roy Halladay, Edgar Martinez, and Mike Mussina. Now Roy Halladay, that's a different story. He was elected past his death. So many of you know Roy Halladay was in a plane crash back in 2017. Of course, deserves to get in. He had a fantastic career with Blue Jays and the Phillies. Of course, the second Major League Baseball pitcher to throw a no-hitter in the postseason, next to Don Larson in 1956. Back in, was it 2011? Pretty sure it was. Pretty sure he was. I'm trying to find it. My bad, 2010. And mind you, that was his first postseason game. Mariano Rivera unanimously elected to the Hall of Fame. It was pretty good, I guess, that he deserved it. If I am correct, I believe Derek Jeter is eligible next year. So he might get in. He might get in next year. If he doesn't, that would be a shock. So again, you have the Hall of Fame induction ceremony on July 21st. That will be a Sunday. And it will be on MLB Network. So one more thing before I get going. I want to say one thing. I'll just say this right now. I will try to do a trade show potentially, like a little trade video, like a little trade deadline video, if you want to call it that, because I'm wondering, are the Yankees going to try to get a pitcher? Because I think they should, if they're going to solidify any chances of going to the World Series this year. As far as the Mets, all I will say is, if you want to go to a Met game, and this is what I'll be doing, because, again, one of my supervisors from work is retiring, and she invited me to go. You want to go to a Met game to watch McNeil and Alonso, then do that. Enjoy something good, I guess. Yes, Alonso should win Rookie of the Year. There's no question about that. McNeil, he could win the National League batting title. If McNeil does win, And I believe, if I am correct, I think he would be the first Met since Jose Reyes to win the batting title. So that would be interesting if that were to happen. Right, so yeah, I remember. Reyes won it in 2011. Then he went to Miami in 2012. Right. Okay, now I'm getting my head straightened out. That makes sense now. Okay, so I'm going to get going. Thank you all for watching. Very long video, but it's worth it because dissecting the first half is very important. So until the next one, please take care.